I kind of think of Shelley as like the Justice League. Everyone talks about, Brindley Cannon, but they're kind of like the Justice League. They just have a nice set of characters that back them up.
When it comes to high school sports, East Idaho never gets its due.
I ran into Jeremy Hess, the AD of Grace Luther, and, he was just excited. And then, I'm just talking to him and he goes, we have 7 girls. So just amazing.
But the East Idaho Prepcast has changed that, covering the biggest sports stories from Salmon all the way down to Bear Lake.
And again, Grace is always that team just kind of lurking, like, yeah, there's Grace. They, they don't have social media, but you know what? They have footballs, they got grass, and they got pads, and they use all those very well.
It's the East Idaho Prepcast with Sean Kane on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome to a special edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, breaking down top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of Idaho high school athletics. This show is brought to you by Ideal, a state-sponsored tax advantage savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. With the rising cost of college, developing a savings plan is the first and most important step in helping families finance a college education. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school apprenticeship, or even student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. As we explore the best stories from Districts 5 and 6, tonight, when I say we, it's just me and the mouse in my pocket, if there was one in my pocket. Sean Kane, our usual East Idaho expert and insider, bring him on right now. But he's out doing East-West tennis, postseason, little tennis summer camps for high school players. So we're going to excuse Sean Kane tonight. It's going to be just me. I apologize, but hit the like and subscribe button because we're going to do a few of these throughout the off season. The title of the show is The Off Season. It's going to be a good time. Try to bring on some special guests that we didn't quite get to maybe discuss or bring on during the season. And man, we have a good one for you tonight, folks. So again, hit the like and subscribe button so you know when we are going to be bringing these to you live for the next, couple months, a week here, a couple weeks there, and it should be really fun summer. Kids are in summer camps. We got, I guess you wouldn't call it spring camp, but it really is summer camp for football. I'm looking at my Instagram. We got volleyball teams, basketball teams going all throughout Idaho and Utah playing in summer tournaments. And then we have Legion baseball going on right now. A lot of great stuff for these kids and want to keep shouting them out throughout the summer. So let's talk a little girls basketball. Someone just actually sent a text and I love it. Thanks for joining us. We talking about football? Sorry, just joined. We talk about football too. Maybe a little bit at the end, but this is going to be girls basketball K3GZ. But thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk Rockland, 1A, Rockland girls basketball. They won the whole thing this year, coming in as the 3 seed. And a special guest to talk about this Rockland team we're going to bring on right now, head coach Jordan Black. What's up, Coach?
Hey, what's up, Joel? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming on. And it's great. So I actually met Jordan and I met each other 2 years ago. We had been in Pocatello about 2 years. Jordan, her family, they had moved in about a year into Rockland. And we met at Friday Night Lights playing football, right? I mean, we weren't playing football. Our kids were playing football. Jordan's Cash and my Bruce were playing football on the same team. And of course, my wife, Mackenzie, and yourself, you guys became fast friends. And I found out, I don't know if it was that game or later on, Jordan, that you're the head coach of the Rockland girls basketball team.
Yeah, I know. Just the little conversations we're having. And I have to throw it out there. I like to just tell people because after we took state, I'm like, I walk around Costco. Hey, guess what? We took state this year. I'm that person.
Yeah, for sure. I walk around Costco and say, hey, I work for Idaho Sports. Do you listen? Do you like and subscribe? East Idaho Prepcast all the time. No shame.
I get it.
Shameless plugs for Rockland basketball and East Idaho Prepcast, Idaho Sports. So Jordan, tell us a little about yourself. I know obviously a little more about you now. We've had a chance to meet on the football field and in our pre-production meeting. But for those who don't know, tell us about yourself, how you guys came to Rockland, of all places, of all states, Idaho, right? But in Idaho, of all the cities, of all the towns, Rockland, Idaho. Give us a little background of your story.
Well, we just hit our 3-year mark Memorial Weekend of moving to Rockland. My husband and I both grew up in Grantsville, Utah. And we were just going through kind of this shift in our life, in my husband's business. And we just thought, we know of Rockland. My husband has some family up here, and we've been up to visit a few times, and it's beautiful. I mean, if you haven't taken a drive through here, you have got to. So anyway, we just thought, let's do it. Let's go on an adventure. Our kids are young. It's now or never. Let's just see what Rockland's all about. So we just packed up everything and moved up here, and just got immediately immersed into the community, because it's kind of what you have to do. It's a very small town. There's not a ton going on outside of like the school programs. And so that was something that was important to me, to get to really plant roots here in Rockland. So that's kind of where we started, and we just keep growing.
Right on. Jordan, Coach Black, we already have a comment from the fans who are here to listen to you. David Cheney, awesome. Love you, sweetie.
That's my dad.
All right. Hey, Dad. Shout out David Cheney. Love it.
Hey, Dad. Oh, he's the best.
Is Dad in Grantsville?
Yeah. So all my husband and my family, they all live in Grantsville, like the valley over there. And so it's been a little bit hard to be away from them, but extremely supportive. They come up and catch games. And so, hi, family. Love you, Dad.
All right. David Cheney, you better like and subscribe to the East Idaho Prepcast. You never know when your daughter's going to be back on. I tease. Great comment. Keep the comments coming for Coach Black. Championship coach. So tell us, so you moved to Rockland, and then give us a little background into how you became the head coach of this awesome, historic girls basketball team.
Yeah, absolutely. So the program was run by Vern Nelson. The whole world, I think, knows who that man is. He just had friends everywhere. He had been coaching for 27 years in Rockland, and he retired, and it got to the point where he, was taking a shift, obviously, and the job became available. But it didn't come available until late summer, maybe early fall of 2023. And I threw around the idea of maybe applying, but I wasn't really serious about it. But then, I don't know, something in me just said, just apply, see what happens. Yeah. And so I did, and I got hired on. I got the phone call October 20th. And then our very first practice was November 2nd. And so it was kind of a whirlwind. I mean, you wake up one day and now all of a sudden I just have to, I feel like I'm playing catch up a little bit, to try to get prepared to take this head coaching position. And so it was really fun, though. It was fun. I enjoyed learning and just kind of being thrown into the mix right away. And I think maybe that's how I learn best, but I'm also extremely competitive. And so I just, do your homework and do as best you can and learn as you go. And it was a great season. We had a fun first season.
Yeah. Well, and you guys made it to the consolation, not to jump ahead, but you made it to that consolation, and you won the consolation game, if I remember right, correct?
Sorry, I lost you on that one.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to blame my kids for playing Fortnite while this prepcast is going on, locking up the internet. I just said you guys won the consolation in your first year. You won the consolation side of the bracket.
Yeah, that was so cool because we had an average season. I mean, we went into state. I think we were like 14-11 or something, like the state tournament. Like nobody really, I don't think we were really floating on anyone's radar, which made it nice because we just started peaking at the right time. And so we win our playing game, we get to the state tournament, we get in as the 8th seed, and we lost and then won. And so it was just so amazing. It was like the coolest experience because I think the girls started to realize like it's capable. We are absolutely capable of doing this. You just have to peak at the right time. You just got to do things at the right time. And it just felt like all the puzzle pieces were coming together. And the way we finished last year absolutely like catapulted us into this amazing season that we had last year.
Right on. And a couple more comments. Let's go back to, talking about that first season. This is from Angela Ivy. I'm guessing another family. Love you, JoJo.
I'm sorry, Joel. I'm sorry if this is like out of the
love it.
normal, but my family
this
is so
keep them
awesome.
coming. And then let's go back to that first season. So you get the job, and hopefully that you can get what I'm saying here with all the internet issues. You get the job, and then you didn't have summer. You didn't have summer to do tournaments and summer workouts. And then you get really thrown into the Rockland. I mean, Rockland's great community, but high expectations with the former coach. And then question from Angela Ivy: how much film did you watch in that? Ask her how much film you watched in that for trying to get ready, because practice was just the next week.
Yes, it was all consuming. I mean, I got to give like a shout out to my husband and my children, because I was completely submersed in basketball and film and just educating myself and getting to know the teams in our district and who we're going to be playing and who their players are. And it's a lot, and so the community was amazing though. And they still are. I had so much support, and I think that's what really helped me relax and feel like, I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to pick up where they left off. I'm just going to build on what Vern gave me, and let's just see what we can do with it, and the girls just were amazing. They were completely supportive. The parents were supportive and very encouraging. And we just had really good chemistry, and the team just blossomed, and our relationships just got better and better. And I think that's very important as a coach, being able to win over your team. Like once you win the girls, you've got it made pretty good. And so that was my goal. And not a lot of new people move into Rockland. And so, I had to let them see what the expectations are, but really and truly at the end of the day, I just want those girls to succeed in life, and I think once they knew that, we just kind of set sail and we just took off, and it was really cool. It was a cool experience.
Well, and you took off with then 3 seniors now this past season that just happened. And I think that's huge. Going in tournament time, we always have these pre-tournament shows. And for all the broadcasters who are going to be broadcasting the games at the state tournament, we talk about, what are the keys to each team. And I'll tell you, every championship team has a handful of seniors and juniors who are kind of leading the way, right? And you have strong culture, and obviously you have to have talent. But when all the talent is kind of equal across the board, it's that senior leadership and that great culture. It sounds like you had that going into this past season.
Yes, those seniors are going to be missed. I had 3 seniors, and when they were freshmen, that was the last time Rockland had won a state championship.
So 2000, right?
Yeah, I think
2001.
2001, yes. And so they were freshmen. They were on the roster, but I don't know if they were dressed, but I know they were like managing or something. So they were a part of it. And I know that they were there at the Idaho Ford Center when Rockland won. And even if it's just like teeny tiny, being a part of that and seeing that, it just like starts something within you, And so I think those seniors really had a strong desire that they wanted to be there. They wanted to be on the Ford floor, and they wanted to bring home that trophy. And it was actually easy for me to coach them this last year because they were all on the same page, and not just the seniors, but the juniors. I mean, everybody involved, they were on the same page and they had the same goal in mind. And we were reaching that goal through encouraging one another and just being a really solid unit. And that all stemmed from the leadership of those seniors. And so they're going to be extremely missed, but man, I have some amazing juniors and going to be seniors next year. I have 3 more who, holy cow, man, they just shined this season. And so I'm very excited to see what they can give me this next year.
Yeah, well, and I am too. I'm always curious how the championship team then not bounces back, but carries on. the legacy from the past season. If they can repeating is so hard in any sport at any level, but especially in high school, because most time you win championships with really good seniors, they go off and hopefully you have some juniors that can pick up what has remained, right, from those seniors. So actually those championships, I kind of fact checked myself, 2020, 2022, and then this past year, 2025. So that was the 2022 season where those seniors were maybe sitting the bench managing. So yeah, that was that 2022 year. Okay.
Well, the cool thing, Joel, real quick about the 2022 season is our boys and our girls both took state that year.
Awesome. And that's so much energy when both the boys and girls, whatever sport, win it all. That's fantastic. Okay, let's go to that state tournament because you had some awesome games. We're going to bring up the bracket actually from this past season for the 1A girls state tournament. Our faces are going to be off, which is, we can take a break. We can, wipe our noses, get a drink, but you have the 1A girls state basketball tournament right here. And you'll notice, folks, if you're not familiar with this state tournament, Rockland came in as number 3, and they had some fellow competitors from their conference. You had Chalice, you had, I think, is it Mackey in your conference? And then I guess it was Chalice and Mackey. I thought there was one more, but they hadn't made it. So there was 3 teams from the same conference coming into this tournament, and that can be interesting because you know how each other play. And your first game was against Chalice. Coach, tell us how that game went, because it may not have been the blowout that a lot of us were expecting.
No, that was the weirdest game, Joel, because we went in and we were feeling, obviously confident. We had beat Chalice earlier in the season. It was very early in the season though. And so that's the thing is you cannot, when it gets to the state tournament, you cannot rule anybody out.
Right.
But I think there was frustration on both ends. I don't know this with the Chalice coach, but I could say we were both frustrated because I don't think Rockland or Chalice were playing as great as we have shown in the past. And so it was a super slow game. But then at the end of the fourth quarter, those girls just gritted their teeth. They just white knuckled it and they just worked hard. And there was a really big play by a junior, Harmony Boyer. I took a timeout and I said, just give me everything you have. Let's stop worrying about the X's and O's and all the little things in between. Just go out, give me full effort. And within a minute, Harmony makes this amazing save as the ball's going out of bounds right under our basket. Perfect pass to her own player, lays it up for a point, 2 points, and it just totally changed the momentum of the game. And it was really cool because it was nice. It wasn't a blowout, but we ended on a high note and it just led us into the next game the next day playing number 2 Carrie.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to pull that away really fast. It was that junior who came in for the clutch, and she'll be here next year, correct?
Yes. I'm so grateful. She's amazing.
Right on. And we want to keep the chats coming. So I have to post this chat. This is from Sarah. I'm guessing it's Blizzard. Did I get that right? Blizzard?
Oh, Blizzard.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I apologize. I'm at E1 Educador. You can yell at me there. You can yell at me here. No problem. But Jordan is a gem, she says. Grantsville wants her back. Well, you can't have her. She's Rockland's now. Right on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever go. She's my bestie. She's my very good friend from Grantsville. Yeah. I love her. Thanks, Sarah.
Shout out Sarah. I love it. Keep the comments coming. Okay. Let's go back. So you win that tournament. The junior comes through, and it's going to be great to have her on the team next year. And then you have to not turn around, but the next day you get a good night's rest, get some good food. Hopefully there's no funny business going on at night. All the girls have a curfew, right? Everyone's going to bed on time. And then they got to go and turn around and play at noon once again. So that was probably nice, right, Coach? You got the same time slot, obviously the same gym, two games in a row. But this time you go up against number 2 seeded, I should say, Carrie, the Carrie Panthers out of the Magic Valley. And that one was another rock fight. Tell us about that one, because that was a come from behind win.
Oh, it was so fun. And even just reflecting back on that game, it gives me chills because just knowing what the girls had to go through to climb that mountain and to get past the Carey Panthers is a huge feat. It's a huge victory for them. Carey's always tough. I mean, you can never, ever
Every
sleep
sport.
on them. And they have an amazing athlete, Andy Simpson. I'm sure you know a lot about her. She's a baller, and you never know what you're going to get with her. You know, she can drive the paint, amazing ball handling. She can shoot perimeter. I mean, she does it all. And then she's got a cousin who's coming up in the program too, another Simpson. So, and then not only that, but they have a great coach who's been there for a long time. She's got state championships. She knows what it's like to be under pressure in those moments. And so it was really intimidating, but our girls were ready and they were just so excited. The energy. And so we got into that game, and looking back, there's nothing I don't think I would change anything. They were executing. They were playing solid defense. We created lots of turnovers on Carey's end on the first half of the game, but I swear there was a lid on that basket. We just could not drop any shots. And so going in at halftime, I just told the girls, we're going to stick to our game plan. You guys are doing everything right. You just have to keep shooting. You have to keep shooting. And so one thing I told them, I said, no matter what anybody does to scout you or be prepared to play Rockland Bulldogs, at the end of the day, nobody can beat heart. And if you go and you play with all your heart and give it everything you got, the rest will fall into place. And that's what they did. And I mean, we went out in the second half and those girls just chipped away. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything like these 3 big 3-pointers in a row. It was just chipping away, being patient, and just sticking to the game plan and trusting each other. And we just were able to continue just getting after it. And I think maybe they were getting tired, maybe Carey was getting tired. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I think the momentum totally just shifted on our end, and the girls took advantage of it. And the trajectory of that game just like launched us with confidence into the state championship game. It was so cool.
Well, and Coach, I think you're being a little bit humble here with, hard, and they kept trying. Coach, you guys had the best defense, maybe arguably, but I'll say you guys had the best defense, your girls, in the state in 1A. You did. Just looking at the numbers, you had the best defense. So defense wins championships, and it showed it in that Carey game, right? Heart, 100%. And that stuff matters. I know it's kind of like throwaway phrases, play with heart and you'll win it. You're totally right. But in the end, if you're playing really tenacious defense, Carey's going to get tired. You're going to get the steals. You're going to get the defensive rebounds. You're going to get offensive rebounds because offense turns the defense and da-da-da. But I think it was the defense, that number one defense in 1A, that probably did all those things that you're talking about, along with the heart, to get that comeback win.
100%. Anytime I would pull off the full court press, our girls were like, no, they just loved it. Yes, they love to press and they love to create chaos and havoc. And I felt like when we do press, the girls are way more engaged. They're like super locked in. And so it was something that we just ran with it because they were so good at executing it. And once you start to get into their heads, the opposing team's heads, and you're creating like 2 to 3 10-second calls. I mean, a little bit of paranoia sets in, and that's when you have to just like take advantage of it,
It's jugular time.
Totally. And so that's what we did. We just stuck to that. We just stuck to the things that had worked for us the entire season, and just trusted that if we just kept executing it, we were going to be successful. And so those girls were just locked in, and they did not want to take the press off. They were just like, they were going for the throat. They were going to do whatever it took to win. And so we just kept going at Carey as much as we could. And I am definitely proud to say, yes, we ended the season best defense in the state. We held our opponents to an average of 27 points a game. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. I was gonna drop those numbers at some point, but you did it. You guys are the best D in 1A in the state. And then this is what's crazy to me, honestly, Coach, is you guys were like top 7 or 8 in points per game and on offense. Like, okay. And you won the championship. So it just goes to show defense wins championships. So like that's
Absolutely.
you got to score enough points, but even in that game where it seems like a lid was on the hoop, you still scored enough. But if the other team scores 0, you can put in 2 and win the game, right?
Totally.
So anyway, that's a phenomenal game. And then let's bring up the graphic one more time for the championship game. You play the other Bulldogs, the Genesee Bulldogs, number 1 seed. By the way, folks who weren't following this tournament a few months ago, back in February, number 1 Genesee Bulldogs got the number 1 seed, I should say. And then you guys, after 2 close games, exciting games, fun games from those girls, you just walloped the Genesee Bulldogs by 17. What was that like? And what was going on there after 2 close games and then a 17-point victory against the number 1 seed team in the tournament?
I just wish people could feel like the energy and the excitement that my girls had going into that game. So we, as coaches, if you're in the state game, you're required to go to this breakfast, and it's held at the Ford Center. And they just kind of talk about how it's going to go throughout the day, win or lose, this is what's going to take place. This is what you got to do. And we had the first game of the day. Our game was at 9:30. And this breakfast is at 7. And I'm like, this breakfast is really like throwing a kink in my plans.
Yeah. Your pregame, your pregame, you have a pregame routine, I'm assuming, is totally thrown off.
Yes. And I just feel like so amped up. Like I can't be in here. I need to be down there. And so anyway, so I got back to the hotel, and we weren't supposed to leave the hotel for another probably 30 minutes. And all my girls were down in the lobby. They had already loaded their bags up in the team van, and they were ready. And they were like, we've already eaten. We're ready to go. We don't want to stay here for one more second. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so we loaded up. We got to the Ford Center. Nobody was even there. Like the employees were just walking
Security
in behind
is like,
us.
Go on in.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yes. And they just were so anxious and antsy to get on the floor. And I thought, this is the best sign, because they're ready to go. And, and I reminded the girls, I said, hey, look, we came in to the state tournament. Before the state game, we were 20 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And our 5 losses of the season were battles. I mean, it wasn't, I wouldn't say they were these huge blowouts. It was where we rolled over. No, we like fought.
Yeah.
And then the 2 games prior to the state game were fighting and like clawing our way to a win. And then we're playing Genesee, who is 20-1 or something. Like they'd only lost 1 game all season. And I just had to keep reminding the girls, look, you are battle tested. We know what it's like to come from behind, and they probably don't. So we need to just keep at it. We have to trust what we're doing and keep that press on. And it all came down in that game. It all came down to heavy conditioning. I mean, if you've watched that game, it was just like back and forth the entire game. And, but again, they didn't want to take off that press, and they just shot the lights out of that game.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I had 2 girls alone, the Perman cousins, Callan and Alexa, the 2 of them combined for 35 points. And we beat Genesee 56-39. So those 2 alone almost outscored them. So it was like, okay, if you're going to peak ever, this is the game to do it. And that's what they did. It was so cool.
That's so rad. Well, and you guys almost jumped like 5, maybe not 5, but like 3 or 4 spots just in that game alone, and just points per game, because you had so many against the Bulldogs. It was so fun. Actually, I came into that game. I think it was end of the 3rd or maybe after halftime. So I was broadcasting the 2A tournament. That was Oakley and, man, I can't remember who their team was, but some North Idaho team. But it was an Oakley game, and I came in thinking, okay, Genesee's probably gonna be leading. I look up at the clock. I look up at the score, and you guys were up, I don't know if it was double digits yet, but it was more than I expected. And watching that game, and the fans, the Rockland fans that had traveled for your game was unreal. Again, a town of 200 and change.
Yeah.
Man,
They
forget
like,
Grantsville. Rockland is the place to be.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there was so much support. And the cool part about that was no matter what the girls did in that game, the crowd went wild. Like, it could be like a simple deflection, like our girl just deflected it and our crowd goes insane. And then we get a rebound and they go crazy. And our girls really fed off of that. And so shout out to Rockland fans. There's none other like them. They're just amazing. And the girls they were just feeling it. They were feeling something and we just went with it. And the thing is these girls actually are great shooters. And so it was bizarre to go into the state game and the first two games dealing with that. It was so frustrating because they're not typically like that. But anyway, they came out, they busted it out and it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, a win by 17 against the number 1 seed Genesee Bulldogs. That's massive. And it's funny, you mentioned they're good shooters. A lot of times the teams will maybe that first game was a little bit rusty, but by the second half of the first game, the shooters are shooting and the shooters and it's fine, right? First game, so first game jitters, but second half is okay. Second game, the shooters are going off. But then if you get to that championship game at the Idaho Center, everyone goes cold because the fans are way behind the baskets. You don't have that wall like most high school gyms have right behind the basket that can kind of focus your vision. And a lot of people go cold. But for your girls, man, they went off. So it's so cool when they're peaking at that right time. And the shooters were combined. The cousins combined for 30 plus points. That's massive. And testament to your culture, coach. Testament to the fans. And all the hard work your girls put in. I love that story about the girls being totally ready. 30 minutes till breakfast, bags in the bus, ready to. That's a testament to what you've been doing so far in these first 2 years, Coach.
Thank you.
Let's finish with a couple more questions and get you out of here. It's a beautiful summer night, and there's still sun outside. And we need to be enjoying that sun because, as we know here in Idaho, we don't get much sun. We don't get much sun. So let's talk about the whole season. You obviously have the 3 seniors and the cousins, just a great squad. But who's maybe an unsung hero? Or I'll give you the option to choose 2 unsung heroes throughout the season. Maybe a team manager, assistant coach, someone in your family, maybe a player who played significant, good minutes and was always getting those rebounds or those steals or just doing the little things that may not show up on the stat sheet. Give us a couple unsung heroes from this past season that you want to discuss.
So it's when you're a senior and you're playing so great, it's like all eyes on you, right? And but our whole dynamic really was successful because of the 3 juniors that I have on my roster. So my 3 seniors would start every game. I've got Trin Weiss, a junior, and then Harmony Boyer. And those 2 girls, oh man, Joel, they're going to be so much fun next year. Awesome. Harmony Boyer is relentless when it comes to defense. She puts on that full court pressure and man, she's like deflecting the ball. She is in that girl's face. If there's a loose ball, she's the first one to hit the floor. She's always tying up for jump balls and she's just this little thing. I mean, and if you knew Harmony, she's just like this bubbly, fun. She's always laughing. And then that whistle blows and that ball goes jump ball and she is like locked in. Yeah. And she's fire, man. She's just so much fun. And so she doesn't ever have like a ton of points. It's never through the roof, but man, she's always chipping away at something, whether it's off ball rebounds or making deflections. She just seems to always be in the right place at the right time. And I'm like, you just have a gift for that. So keep doing what you're doing. And then the other starter, Trin Weiss, she is a playmaker. She just reads her defense so well, and she can just get around her defender and just make these fun, cool things happen. And she can really momentum shift how things are going in our behalf. And she's just really fun to watch, and she can jump out of the gym. I mean, she jumps so high.
Does she also play volleyball by chance?
Yes, she does.
Yes,
and
she does.
She's very good at volleyball. So she's just
Cool.
an athlete. And then you have Madison Radford. She's our next junior. So I'm going to have 3 more seniors. But again, she just works and grinds every day. And without Madison pushing and doing the things, the little things, I mean, we would never be successful as we are now. So those 3 juniors, I just have to give a shout out to them. They're awesome.
Right on. So that's so Harmony Boyer, Trin was it Weiss? And then Madison Radford, right? Those are the 3 juniors who will play next year. Okay, so we'll be keeping our eye on them, volleyball, and then going into basketball. Super exciting that you had 3 seniors this year, and then 3 juniors that are not going to be seniors next year. That's awesome. And again, Coach, players want to come out and play for good coaches that care. You said at the beginning of this Prepcast that you wanted, as soon as the girls knew that you really cared about them and you wanted what's best for their future, and whether it's basketball or whatever, that matters. And players want to come out and play for those types of coaches. So I don't think it's by accident that you've had 3 good seniors and now 3 good juniors.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot, Joel.
Yeah. So one more, and then we'll get you out of here. Favorite memory? You probably have. There's probably too many, but favorite memory from the season. I know you guys won. There was something pretty, and I you know what? I'm almost saying too much here, but you did mention that championship was pretty significant. Maybe let's talk about that. How significant it was to win that championship in February on that special date, and then we'll go into the favorite memory of the season, or maybe it's the same. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
Oh, there are, like you said, there are so many things that I could talk about. We have a great time in the locker room. We really do. It's just kind of those vulnerable conversations that you can have one-on-one where they're totally vulnerable. I mean, the emotion, it's raw, it's real, and you get to be a part of that. And then on the flip side, when it's so, like when you just won this huge game and you're having a dance party and whatever, but I would have to say truly the highlight of the season for me was being a part of our overtime win against district rival Ledor. And so Ledor came into this game. We had to play them, I believe, right after Christmas break. And we played them in Rockland, but they were undefeated and they were highly ranked on Max Preps. And so anyway, Trin Weiss hit a 3 with just seconds remaining in regular play, tied it up, and then we went into overtime and we beat Ledor by 14 points.
Wow. No way. And usually those overtime games, it's like 5 or 6 or 3, right? Because it's a rock fight, dog fight, whatever you want to call it. 14 out in overtime. That's massive. So you mentioned before we went on this, as we're kind of doing our pre-production meeting, the significance of that date when you guys won the championship. Can you talk a little bit about that and the former coach, the Rockland girls basketball team, before we head out?
Yeah, that is something that I would really love to share because it was incredibly special. So Vern Nelson, he passed away from cancer. And so initially that's the reason why he stepped down from coaching. So in 2024, the first year that I coached, when we made it to state, it was neat because we played Mackey our second game and we ended up beating Mackey. And Vern was able to make it up to Boise that weekend. And it was extremely difficult, but he just was determined to be there to watch his girls play in that state tournament. So he made it up there. After we defeated Mackey, we ran back to the locker room and Vern was sitting right there, right outside of our locker room. Not on purpose, but just by chance. You know, he was just sitting there and the girls were able to run up to him and embrace him and take one last picture with him. And it was just like the joy and the happiness, and it just radiated with all of them. So that was a really sweet moment. And Vern ended up passing away a week later. And so this year, when we got to the Ford Center when we won, when we got that state championship trophy, and we were all together as a team with our families celebrating on the floor. Vern Nelson's family was there, and they were there to support and watch. And I didn't know that day until his son, Andy, had told me, but he said, my dad died exactly a year ago today. And it was just, it's very tender and it's very sweet and just such like paying homage to him. And that day was for him too, you know? And so the community really, it was a community win, not just a Rockland basketball win, and something sweet and something cool that we will always treasure. So we love Vern. We love his family. And just to be just a little funny real quick, his wife, Vern's wife, Katie, she's so sweet. She came up to me after the game and she said, this is the most fun state tournament I have ever been to.
No pressure, right? She wasn't watching her husband sweat, and she's, you know.
Exactly. She can just relax and watch the game. And so I thought that was really cute.
Oh, that's awesome. Jordan, what a great story. You guys got the victory for Vern, not only a victory, a state championship in your second year as the head coach. That's phenomenal. Coach, I've taken too much of your time. We've gone 40 or so minutes. Do you want to shout out anyone before we sign off?
Yes, my husband, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting me in this crazy journey. He's awesome. Joel, you know him. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's the man.
He is. And my kids, obviously, for dealing with a psycho mom during the season. And being patient with me. And then also my assistant coach, Shelly Matthews, we're like this, and without her, I couldn't do this. And so I just want to give a shout out to her publicly for the whole world to know how awesome she is. And I just couldn't do it without her. So thank you, Shelly.
Awesome. Shout outs to them. And we'll see your husband on the football field come fall, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right on. We might have to have him on the Prepcast. Talk a little football. Talk a little 8-man 1A football.
He would love that. He loves that.
Yeah, that would be a blast. Coach Black, thank you so much. I'm sorry we couldn't get you on right after you guys won, but it was crazy. Once winter sports end, it's spring takes off, and we're talking softball and baseball, and there just was no time. So thank you so much for reconnecting out on Friday Night Lights, at football, and being willing to come on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I've really enjoyed this. So thanks for letting us tell our story and get everybody else excited about Rockland. I appreciate that, Joel.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's head coach Jordan Black. We'll let you go and we'll sign off. Thanks everyone for joining us. Coach, have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
All right, that was head coach Jordan Black, head coach of the Rockland girls basketball team. Great lady. What a great coach. And you can tell, Sean and I talk about this all the time here in East Idaho. We have great coaches, and our teams win a lot. We may not win every championship, but here in East Idaho, we win a ton. And a lot of that is because of the coaches, the culture that they establish, the good examples they are. And we're just super grateful for the coaches who also are willing to come on the show, despite even with the internet issues and the lack of connection. But super thankful for all of our coaches here in East Idaho, but especially tonight for Coach Jordan Black, the head coach of the Rockland girls basketball team. They are the state champions from this past winter. Really special, by the way, not by the way, but reflecting back on the conversation that they won that championship a year to the day after Coach Vern had passed away. We love that family. I can't wait to get to know his wife. Hopefully I'll get out to Rockland and get to meet her and meet all the Rockland fans out there. I'll never forget walking into that gym, getting ready for my 2A game. And there were the fans, like Coach Black said, going wild for every rebound, every shot made, obviously, and every steal, every deflection. Great fans out in Rockland, and led by that great coach Jordan Black. We won't talk football tonight. Sorry, K3GZ. We'll talk football another night. We've gone on too long. But please, again, like and subscribe to the show so you know when we will have another special special episode during this off season. One more time, want to recognize our sponsor, Ideal, a state-sponsored tax advantage savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. With the rising cost of college, developing a savings plan is the first and most important step in helping families finance a college education. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school, apprenticeship, or even student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. I am Joel Richardson saying be excellent to each other. Have a great rest of your week. Make someone else's, and we'll see you next time on the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.